The new prequel is coming out anytime now, and so I'm going to go over the few changes that are going to be on it, as well as how to read it like a lender, so stick around. All right, another byproduct of TRID is that we've got a new prequel that's coming out here for us. There aren't that many changes, so we'll jump right in. All right, the biggest piece is line number 3. There's a box and it says buyer has not consulted with a lender. This is kind of a make or break box if you ask me. If this box is checked and you're a listing agent looking at a purchase contract from a buyer that intends to finance it and they haven't even consulted with a lender yet, I would say that that is a very bad sign. If you're a buyer's agent and you've helped them put this prequal together where all they've done is check the top box and signed it, I think you know that your chances of getting an accepted offer are very slim. All right, so assuming your buyer's actually consulted with a lender, the next most important line is going to be line number 8. Whether or not the buyer has a contingent sale. Now, if this is marked stating that the buyer is relying on the sale of another property to purchase this home, you should also see an additional addendum as part of your purchase contract, and it's definitely something you should consider when deciding between this and other offers. This is made even more complicated in the new TRID world because doing a contingent sale is going to be even more difficult with the new CD disclosure and the waiting periods that are associated with it. Hitting that exact date where 2 deals happen at the same time is going to be very tricky. Now, line number 9, everybody's familiar with it. This states whether or not the buyer needs closing cost assistance. If that's checked, please take that into consideration because you're working with a buyer with limited funds. Don't think that negotiating away from these closing costs are really going to help you out much. All it's going to do is force the buyer into a corner and trying to find funds that they may or may not be able to procure. We're going to skip down a bit, but on line number 14, it discusses the property type. The only time you really need to be super sensitive to this is if you have a condo listing. If your listing is a condo and you get a prequal from a buyer and all the boxes are checked except for condo, it's definitely time for you to reach out to that lender and discuss condo financing with them. Make sure the lender understands condo financing. Make sure that they've discussed it with their borrowers because condos are still unique to finance for us. That brings us to lines 16, 17, and 18. These are all musts. These basically say that the buyer has talked to the lender, they've discussed credit and assets and income and all those fun pieces, and the credit report has been pulled. Without these items, you might as well check the top box that says they haven't consulted with a lender. All right, moving all the way down to lines 25 through 28. This is all the different documentation that the buyer could be providing to the lender as part of their pre-qualification. This documentation is even more critical in the new TRID environment because once a buyer has an accepted contract, the lender cannot actually require this documentation before they've given us an intent to proceed. Now, with that said, I would say the most important pieces for you to watch out for are the tax returns and corporate tax returns here. If it's marked no, no means that we do need it, we just don't have it. That is the worst case scenario. If we need to see taxes and we have not, there's a halfway decent chance that we're going to see something on those tax returns that are at least going to require additional documentation. So if you see it checked no, make sure that you have a discussion with either the buyer's agent or the lender themselves. That's it as far as the form itself. I did want to reiterate, moving into the new TRID world, it's going to be important for the lenders and the borrowers to get together and get as much documentation as possible when they're in this pre-qualification stage. It means getting a head start on the process because with TRID, everything's going to be just a little bit slower, a little bit more complicated. As an agent, you can also rest easier knowing that the buyer's documentation is already with the lender and they're not just guessing based on a telephone conversation. With that said, my favorite line is still line number 37 where it lists the name of the lender you're working with. I would love for you to give me an opportunity to pre-qualify your next client. And if you need absolutely anything, please give me a call at 480-744-6040. If you're enjoying the videos, please click on the like button. If you know of anybody that could benefit from this information, please share it on over with them. If you'd like to make sure that you receive all of our videos, click on the subscribe button. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.